Good afternoon, seventh grade scholars. Mr. Johnson here. It's good to see you again. As you can see, I don't have any crazy hair because we didn't quite hit our goal of 50%. We came close. We had a 9% bump and got to 45, but the goal was 50. So you guys, my plan was to go with the mohawk today. Um, that didn't happen because we didn't hit 50, but I will find more ways to infuse some fun challenges so we can step our game up and make sure that we're attending class virtually just like we would in person. All right, so student spotlights. I got a few. You guys are your responses, your ASAC responses. You guys are really stepping up and writing full ASAC responses. I want to highlight first Anthony's. Anthony was really, really thorough in uh, really proving his point with context, with evidence. Um, he got a 95 on this assignment. So one thing I wanted to point out, I want to push. It's not just Anthony. This is a good example. A lot of us, I want to push us on our claims, making our claims concise and precise. I'll tell you what I mean. Take a look at Anthony's claim. It's highlighted in red. It said Buck's personality changed by his kidnapping, by him realizing that not everything was given to him and that you can't trust anyone. Now, if the prompt was, what lessons did Buck's kidnapping teach him? Anthony would have crushed it. The lessons would be, not everything is given to you and you can't trust anybody. But the prompt was, how was his personality change? Right? So you need to look at what the prompt is asking and think, okay, so what's the wording going to be like? So if this is asking how a personality changed, what personality trait would you ascribe to somebody who has everything given to them? Think of the word. What's a word we could use that would describe somebody who has everything given to them? Spoiled, right? Pampered. That's the personality trait. What personality trait would you ascribe to someone who doesn't trust anyone? Right? Distrustful, suspicious, right? So make sure you look at the prompt closely so you know how to word it. What Anthony said is accurate, but those aren't exactly personality traits, right? So we want to make sure in our claims that we're being really precise and concise in how we answer that prompt. I've got Monica's pulled up as an example of being concise and precise, knowing, looking at the prompt, what's it asking? Let me make sure my wording is what the prompt's expecting, right? So she said his personality changed from being proud to being defeated, right? Those are personality traits, okay? So I want to push everybody to be really precise in our claims. Make sure that we name it. We don't summarize things that happened in our claims. The things that happen go in our context and our evidence. What we're arguing goes into our claim, right? Monica's going to have to prove that he was proud. She's going to have to prove that he was defeated later on. All right, so let's get into today's lesson. Today's lesson is we're going to learn. It picks up right where we left off. Buck had just been beaten down and knocked out by the man in the red sweater. We're going to pick up from that moment, and I want you to pay close attention to the people that Buck is surrounded by now. Now that he's not in San Diego anymore, where he was like living the good life. He's in a whole different atmosphere. It's cold, it's dangerous. So I want you to pay attention, pay close attention to who he's surrounded by now, because these are going to be the characters who are going to be with him for much of the book. And in this new environment, what is Buck having to learn in order to adapt and survive? All right. I'll read the first couple paragraphs with you, and we'll look at today's exit ticket. Today's exit ticket, I hit you with the focus question right off the bat. Okay, so this is going to be the big question for the day, but there's more questions after it that are just more like detail questions, just making sure that you're following along with what's happening with Buck and what's going on with the characters. Okay. All right. So let's start off. The first question we're reading for is actually, let's just get into the reading. I don't want to spoil that for you. Okay. We're picking up on page 11 if you're on the PDF. If you're in the physical copy, we're on page 8. I'll pick up on that last paragraph that we left off with the other day. For the last time he rushed. The man struck a shrewd blow he had purposely withheld for so long, and Buck crumpled up and went down, knocked utterly senseless. "He's no slouch at dog breaking, that's what I say," one of the men on the wall cried enthusiastically. "Druther break cayuses any day, and twice on Sundays," was the reply of the driver as he climbed on the wagon and started the horses. Buck's senses came back to him, but not his strength. He lay where he had fallen, and from there he watched the man in the red sweater. "Answers to the name of Buck," the young man soliloquized. A soliloquy is when one person is speaking like to an audience, okay, so in a kind of a dramatic way. Quoting from the salon keeper's letter, which had announced the consignment, meaning the what was contained there, the consignments of the crate and contents. "Well, Buck, my boy," he went on in a genial or friendly voice, "we've had our little ruction, and the best thing we can do is let it go with that. You've learned your place, and I know mine. Be a good dog, and all'll go well, and the goose hang high. Be a bad dog, and I'll whale the stuffing out of you. Understand?" As he spoke, he fearlessly patted the head he had so mercilessly pounded, and though Buck's hair involuntarily bristled at the touch of the hand, he endured it without protest. When the man brought him water, he drank eagerly, and later bolted a generous meal of raw meat, chunk by chunk, from the man's hand. All right, you guys. If we look at question 1, these two quotes come from the same event, basically on the same page. Just minutes earlier, we have this quote: "The man struck the shrewd blow he had purposely withheld for so long, and Buck crumpled up and went down, knocked utterly senseless." And then just moments later, we've got this next quote happening. "When the man brought him water, he drank eagerly, and later bolted me like scarfing down, and later bolted a generous meal of raw meat, chunk by chunk, from the man's hand." Right? These don't seem to go together. Our first question, your focus question, is what do those two quotes reveal about what the man in the red sweater is trying to accomplish? What was he trying to do? This is kind of like an ASAC response, guys, but I already gave you your quotes that you're working with. So you do not need to include a specific quotes in this response. You're more just making a claim, naming what the man in the red sweater is trying to do. You already have your two quotes, so now just prove it to me. Prove to me what you think he's trying to do. These are the evidence that we have in mind. All right. All right. Great job with the attendance boost. Let's get it above 50%, guys. So if you're in communication with your classmates, tell them to, get into class. Make sure they're watching these videos because these videos really put you on the right track. And office hours every day from 2 to 3:15. The students who are going to office hours are actually performing the best in class because they're able to discuss their thoughts with Miss McKinney and with each other, just like they would in class. All right. Um, all right. I will see you guys tomorrow and keep up the good work.